in the away leg in Feyenoord, which he eventually left to Bill Nix stepping down.
Yeah.
In '74, and he went on the tannoy at half time, and wanted to try and quiet the hooligans down, but I think it was on deaf ears, and he was sort of a broken man after that, and
It must have been it must have been a really big decision for him to step down because he'd been at Spurs so long, hadn't he?
Oh God,
Yeah.
there's sort of a player, coach,
Yeah.
assistant manager, and a man who's standing in the game was what it was. It was just so alien to him what was happening in
Yeah.
times with the hooliganism, which was sort of breaking out not just in this country, all over Europe, and
Yeah.
with terracing like it was, and dilapidated stadiums, and the rest of it. I mean, it's all been pretty well documented over the years, but and those were the lovely years I grew up in. So,
Yeah.
That that little synopsis there of Bill. Do you think that kind of embodies the kind of person that he was, and why, and what made him what he was, and why he is so revered? Because he's obviously a man of principle and of honour, and probably seeing those scenes and just seeing certainly that happening to his beloved Spurs, just probably he just probably couldn't handle that, and just thought it kind of dishonoured the club and everything. I think it's just an amazing thing. I don't think you'd find many other managers that would do something like that.
No, that's right.
Exactly that, Steve. Really, I mean, he, as you say, a principled person. No messing with him. He was old school, and it was just so alien to him. Family man, and his life was football.
Yeah,
and to see something like this happening, and obviously he couldn't stomach it, and the game had changed for the worse, because it became a big part of the game.
Yeah.
You went to football on a Saturday, and if there wasn't a rumpus on the terracing, it was an odd Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's how it was. But no, I mean, getting towards that mid sort of '70s after Bill Nick left, and as I say, just touching on the whole of that decade really, but the mid part 74, 75 season. That was when we started to really flirt with relegation, and say the side were aging, and Terry Neal took over as manager, and the ones many people recall like I do in that 74, 75 season, with the two home games right at the end of the season, firstly with Chelsea. And secondly, with Leeds, and of course Leeds were about to play in the European Cup final. We beat Chelsea on the Saturday, and a full house with thousands locked outside. Remember it very well. And then we had to beat Leeds, basically at home, who say were in the European Cup final, were the best team in the country.
Yep.
And we managed to beat them 4-2 on the night. Many people say Leeds were playing, with the handbrake on and all the rest of it, but they still put out the first team on the evening, and both sell out crowds, and basically kept us up, for the time being at least. But in that mid '70s period, there was the one shining light really was in '75 with the advent of God Almighty, Glenn Hoddle.
So, Kev, before you go and talk about Hod, was that you just spoke about the Leeds and Spurs games? Was that the games and the fixtures where you had the iconic Mackay Bremner picture?
No,
come
the
from?
Mackay one's long before then.
Okay.
Mackay's the Mackay Bremner pictures from 1960s. And, sorry, lads, I'm still here, but you can see that's the one you're talking about, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
It's a classic, isn't it? Yeah.
For those of you watching in black and white, it is a black and white picture, by the way.
Yeah.
But he signed it. Yeah. So yeah, that was a sick 1960s game. But
wasn't just going back to that picture? Wasn't Dave a bit embarrassed about that photo?
Yeah, so the story goes.
Yeah.
It looked like he was being a bully.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that. I think Dave Mackay had just come back from his second broken leg. And
that's right. And Bremner
went in over the top, and he really didn't take too kindly to that, which you can understand. But two fiery Scots anyway, those two.
Yeah. Mind you, I remember Keegan and Bremner having a fight once.
Yeah.
That was a real
charity shield at Wembley, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
But no, but obviously Glenn came through, made his debut against Norwich. I was at that. It was a 2-2 draw at White Hart Lane. I think Cyril Knowles went off injured, and he came on, and you've all got an opinion on football. Everybody, thinks they can spot a player or whatever. Well, let me tell you, he came on for a short while there, a fleeting substitutes performance. You didn't have to know anything about football. The boy had a chance. You could just see it. 2 feet, rasping drive just went over the bar. I remember just over there, and to think, oh, who's this boy? Oh, he's come through the youth, and that's the icing on the cake for any follower of any club, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
When there's one as special as that, and to me, he's not just special. I mean, he's the the most, in my personal opinion, technically the most talented player probably England have ever produced.
Yeah, definitely.
As regards technical talent, I'm talking of 2 feet, touch on a football, range of passing, just unbelievable. And Steve Perryman once said, he was being interviewed by someone one day, and they said, he's got a great right foot, hasn't he, Glenn Hoddle? And he said, right. He said, no, he said he had a great left foot. And Steve said, by the tone of that, I'm thinking you think he's left-footed. And
exactly.
The Perriman then turned around and said, well, he's actually, his preferred foot is supposedly his right foot.
Yeah, you'd never know.
A lot of the passes, the shots at goal, they're with his left foot.
Yeah.
And he did just that's technical talent to me. The Gascoignes, etc., but predominantly one-footed. And it depends what you look for in a footballer, but pure artistry. Me.
Yeah. They said that he used to kick the ball a bit like a snooker player hits a cue ball. There's always a bit of backspin or a bit of side, and whenever he was making a through pass to a forward or whatever, it would always bounce just right in their path, and then they just run onto it and make their life easy.
Exactly that with backspin, and I don't know. Some people look for other things in footballers, and they look at a Roy Keane or whatever, but not me.
No, that's right. He was very Spurs, wasn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, but that sort of demise in the side and the players' ages, etc., of course, led to relegation in 76, 77.
Imagine Twitter at that point.
I know. Yeah. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
We were poor, but we were wholehearted that season.
Yeah.
I think that really sums it up, how we were, and as I say, the aging side, they needed replacing. Probably half the team needed replacing just through age. You had players there that finally left the club mid-70s in Cyril, Gilly, Chiv. you know, almost 1,000 appearances between the three of them, you know, and they can't last forever, and that's what happened. But that season in the second division, and you know, anyone listening attended games then. To me, it's a really, really special season. I think I said off air to Andy that you know, we were the big cheese that year. You know, wherever we went, and this is where I think a lot of the Spurs away following originated. That second division season, you know, we went everywhere in our thousands and thousands, and you know, you went to small clubs like Mansfield away and things like that, Bristol Rovers, and you know, we took thousands with us, and the crowd was boosted because people wanted to come and see Tottenham Hotspur, you know, and it was a special season, and of course we left it right to the bitter end in good old traditional Spurs way, but you know, we made it and made it back up to, you know, to the big division where where we belong. But really, just ending on this 70s subject, the obviously can't leave without the signing news of the Argentinians in '78, and you know, I think a lot of people remember where they were when the news broke, and it was on the back of the paper, and you know, no Twitter, Facebook, or any of that in those days. But my God, what a coup that was! You know, it was just unheard of.
I think the brilliant thing about that was that Birkinshaw went over there to sign them, brought them back, and it was just almost as if they just got off the plane and everybody was there. It was like, who's this? He's picked up these two World Cup winners, and that was amazing.
Of course, they knew nothing about Spurs either.
They had a clue, did they?
Not a clue. You know, they ended up living in Turnford, not far from the Cheshunt training ground, a pair of them next door to each other. And as I say, you know, Ricky spoke no English at all, and you know, Ozzy spoke a bit sort of a broken English, but you know, that first away game, the first game of the season, would always live in the memory. Many Spurs were there. There was 41,000 crowd at the City Ground, and it was absolutely packed full of Spurs. So much so they were on the side of the pitch and whatever. You know, we were given a terrace, and it just wasn't big enough. And you know, we managed to come away with a 1-1 draw there, and of course Notts Forest were the league title holders at that time. They were a really good team. But,
they did,
Ricky got the goal, and so we went home happy. Took a few years, didn't it, before we really, you know, we really got back to where we belong with that 81 Cup final win. But you know, that was the 70s for me, in those bullet points, really, because it was such an up and down time. But
it was, I
enjoyed it immensely personally. But
incredible decade.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice one, Kev. Thanks for that. So it's probably been a couple of months since we've had you on, so I think we won't leave it another couple of months, and I guess when we come on next time, if possible, if you can maybe do a summary of the 80s, would be good.
I've got the 80s, and I've also got 61, 62, which is another good one as well, Steve. If
yes,
yes, that was a nearly season, a real nearly season.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be good. No. So we'll do both of those. I think, obviously, given my age, like the 80s would be good because it's easier. Certainly, there'll be more that I would recall, I think, from that period. And talk of nearly seasons, you know, 87, I think, was the massive nearly season for us that I can recall.
The 80s was a brilliant decade for Spurs.
Yeah. So that would be good. Okay, fantastic. So Jamie's been patiently waiting in the wings, and I think he's managed to dredge up and on this day for us. So, Jay, over to you with your on this day, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say about, you know, you two going on about the 80s being a golden decade. You know, I think probably the earliest I remember was the 1987 Cup final, which was absolute shite. So for me, it was the 90s really, and the 90s was shit. But anyway, on this day today, on the 29th of, it's May, it's fucking March, isn't it? 29th of March 1986, Spurs played at home against Arsenal.